I want to play with a concept for a minute, and it's not truth, it's not reality, it's just an idea. So if you're new here, this is my video journal. It's not intended to be advice or guidance. I'm just expressing what I'm thinking and feeling in the present moment. So the concept is, everybody in the world is making bids for the lifestyle that they want. And to focus this idea a little bit more, imagine it more like people are bidding for the job that they want. So all the best jobs that everybody would really love to have, with all the most exciting perks and the best pay, more people are going to be bidding for that job, so the price of that job is going to be higher. We tend to think of things like careers as in terms of the rewards that we're going to get if we have the cool job. So, we're like, oh, this job, it's $100,000 a year, and we're thinking about what we're going to get from it, but we're not thinking about what we need to put into it to sustain it. And this is something that I've just started to realize. And like I said, this is just a concept, like it's not necessarily true. And I'm going to get into some insights around how this counterintuitively, like if you put too little effort in, you end up having to bid higher for a shitter job. Might even go into that first. So if you put no effort at all into developing yourself, you end up in a place where you don't have a lot of options, but there are also a lot of other people who haven't put any effort into developing themselves. So you actually have to bid higher for the shitter opportunities. And anybody who's ever been on Centrelink in Australia, or Social Security in America, or any kind of government assistance in any country in the world, I imagine, where you're unemployed and you're receiving these benefits, you're actually competing against you're probably competing harder and bidding higher for shitter opportunities. And that's why people get jaded and they end up in this loop, this pattern where they would like to be employed, they would like to have a good job and security and a nice house, and they'd like to progress with their lives, but the bid to get out of that hole is so high that it seems unreasonable. So you're not crazy if you're in a situation where you're unemployed and you're trying to get somewhere, like trying to get a job, and it seems like you've got to jump through all these hoops and do all these hectic things just to get your foot in the door for the shittest job in the world. Perhaps back in the day for me, it was like working at a factory farm, like the worst job that nobody would ever want, but everybody's competing for it because it's the only job that you can get with no qualifications and a resume full of holes, and you don't have like a nice car or nice clothes or anything like that. The kinds of jobs where you just need a high-vis shirt and you're qualified, you can walk in and they train you and you can do it. If you're at that stage where you don't have any qualifications or you're at that point where there's actually more competition at the bottom. There's probably more competition at the bottom and the top, but in the middle, that's where you actually have a little bit of freedom, is what I'm noticing. And it's weird because I don't usually talk about career stuff, and I don't usually record my video journals in such a public place, but things are changing inside of me, so things are changing outside of me. So this concept, it's a great one to contemplate for yourself, but we'll go deeper into what I'm noticing in my own life. So I'm in a place now where, even in the career that I'm in, I'm doing support work for mental health specifically. I don't do a lot of disability. I don't do any disability at this point. It's interesting in that you are kind of competing, or you are 100% competing, and even companies are competing to secure participants, for clients. So you want to impress these people. It's really weird, and it's probably what got me onto the train of thought of everybody's bidding for the highest value opportunities. But I'm going to stretch the metaphor and the analogy, because I've also been looking at investing in securities, in stocks, and it's the same kind of deal. Everybody might be trying to invest in a particular company because it's the company to invest in, but the opportunities really lie in the places where nobody's noticed that there's an opportunity yet. So you might find a new company, that's just starting up, to invest in, or like I'm also looking at this to be employed by. Like I'm looking for opportunities everywhere now, and that's why I preface this video by saying this is a concept. It's like, we're not talking truth. We're playing with an idea. We're not saying this is how reality is. It's very interesting. But this idea, like another picture that was in my mind's eye while I was contemplating this by myself before I turned the camera on, was like being a pro surfer. I'm in Burleigh Heads right now, so it makes sense that that's what's coming to my mind. But most people, they get into surfing, and maybe they're curious about what it might take to become a world-class surfer. But as they explore that and they see what everybody else is willing to put in, like getting up every morning with the sun, like 4:30 a.m, go out, it's cold, it's dark, get the best parking spot, get in the surf, surf every day, and go to work, and spend all your money on like supplements and nutrition, get super fit, go to the gym. Like it just, like, as people see what other people are willing to do to get that lifestyle, everybody kind of falls away. And the intent why I wanted to share all of these insights and highlight this in the present moment was because I was realizing, anything is possible for real. And it really comes down to this, like it isn't competitive, like this isn't the reality of it, but at the same time, if you looked at it this way, like you can have anything you want if you're prepared to bid higher than everybody else. And that might mean putting an extra hour in at the gym, putting an extra $100 away out of your pay, like whatever it is, you can actually have anything that you want. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm prepared to outbid anybody for what I want, and it's accelerated. And I just mean that in any form that it may take. Like if I've got to put an extra hour in on a shift, I'll do it. If I've got to drive an extra 100 kilometers for an opportunity, I'll do it. If I've got to finish late and start early, I'll do it. Whatever it is, like I'm prepared. And another interesting insight just in the moment, it's kind of unrelated, but once the people who are handing out the opportunities see that you're willing to do whatever it takes, you're going to be the first person that they call. So you're actually going to be made aware of the opportunities before everybody else, which actually allows you to bid lower. So another interesting thing, similar to what I was saying earlier about, if you're on government benefits and you're unemployed, you've got to bid higher for the shitter opportunities. The opposite is also true. If you work really hard and you get yourself in a position where people know that you're the one that's going to seize the day, you're going to be the first one that they call. So you're going to be handed opportunities, and it's going to cost you less. Whether that cost is financial, time, emotional. Like some of the costs are like, this particular task is going to be more emotionally draining. Are you going to take that on? Are you prepared to take on things that are harder, more difficult, going to drive you insane? And as you develop yourself more, those opportunities that are objectively more challenging, maybe they're not so challenging for you. So again, your value increases, and as your value increases, it's almost like it feels like you're not bidding as high. Hopefully the word bidding makes sense to everybody, because it's like fundamental for this whole thing that I'm talking about. I'm just talking about bidding, like if you're bidding at an auction for an item, I bid $50, you bid $100, you're the winner. Like I'm willing to put in more than anybody else at this point. And it's not that I want to see anybody else lose. It's just that I'm noticing this is the way that it works. Like, and as I continue to create new opportunities for myself, it's not like I'm just like nobody really loses. Like, I will win the opportunities that I'm seeking, and then I'll move on. Like, it's not like it's me versus you and I'm just going to keep beating you and you're never going to win. You'll find something else where everybody's bidding for it, bidding all of their time, energy and awareness, and you'll win. And I guess an insight for myself in the moment is like, be okay with not winning everything as well. Like, sometimes it's better to cut your losses. Like, maybe there's a particular thing that I want and the cost outweighs the reward substantially, but like, I'm so driven to get what I want that I actually shoot myself in the foot and end up with an opportunity that's really a liability. It's not an asset. It's not helping grow my life. There's no financial reward, there's no time reward, there's no freedom reward. I just had to win. Like, I'm not talking about doing that either. It's really multidimensional. It's like looking at where can I invest my time, energy and awareness to get the absolute best results. And it's also, it starts to expand as well when you're not just thinking one-dimensionally. You're not just thinking like, I want to get a job. Like, now I have like all of this stuff going on. I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of how my career is right now, but I've got a bunch of different people that call me and text me opportunities just for the support work side of things. And then I've got my photography and video where opportunities exist for clients to come who want content created. And then I've got my own content, which is actually serving advertisements on YouTube, and I get a monthly income from that. And I'm also selling products online. Like, there's so much going on behind the scenes. And again, like, that's where the concept falls apart, where like I win and somebody else has to lose. Nobody has to lose. We live in an age now where there's so much possibility. This couldn't have existed before, the way that I'm living my life. I couldn't have like a business that's got all these different directions and a career that has all these different directions and fit it all into and have it all cohesive. It's because of the technology that we have, where all of the calendars can be synced through Google Calendars, and it's just incredible what's possible in this day and age. And that's the part where these opportunities emerge that I'm talking about, where we don't all have to compete for the best job in the world, because you can literally create the best job in the world just by finding the opportunities that nobody else has found yet. You could just start a business today, like doing personal training slightly different that appeals to people that nobody else has ever thought of. Like, and I guess that's incredible, just to realize that you can even create the life that you want, the way that you want. But it starts with this like willingness to bid high enough, and not to live in this scarcity mindset where like, oh, if I invest all my time, energy, awareness into that, then I'm going to have nothing left over. Like, put in 110% for 3 months at a new job and see what happens. Like, you're going to be elevated to a position where you're the one that receives the opportunities, whether that comes in the form of the best shifts, or it comes in the form of a promotion or a pay raise, or it comes in the form of more freedom. Like, you can choose when you come into work so that you can work on your side hustle at home, like these ideas that you're having, and you've got the income and the cash flow to actually execute on your ideas. You're not just like hoping that somehow everything's going to work out. You have time to read, you have time to attend courses and personal development, you have time to do all these things. It all starts with the willingness to put in more than anybody else. And this is a really weird roundabout way to say all of that, but hopefully it leads to some insights for anybody who might be watching this. If you think somebody else might benefit from this content, please pass it on. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear any new insights that emerged through you while you were watching this. And go check out kylibs.com for more tools and helpful information.